Hey, this is Darren with the One Bad Wheel Fantasy NASCAR Racing Cheat Sheet, and today I want to show you, give you an inside peek at the track pages. We've got a page for every track on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. Just to recap previous two videos. First video we talked about NASCAR Loop Data, what it is, how cool it is, what an insight it is, how much better than average finish that I think that it is, and the cool thing is at the site, all the statistics and the data on the site are powered by the NASCAR Loop data. The second video was looking at the drivers pages. We looked at each of the rankings, 2009, 2010 NASCAR Loop data driver rating rankings for the drivers in the top 35, and showed you that we have a page for drivers outside the top 35 as well. And this video, as I said, I want to share with you a sneak peek at the tracks. Track pages you access, you can access them from the top. Navigation, that's just on the home page. You can access it there, every page actually, but there's also a quick jump on the side here if you want to go to a certain track. From any page, you can go to Daytona, since we got Daytona coming up here in just a few weeks. What a track page has, again, now there's a track page for every single track on the NASCAR Cup schedule. The beginning starts out with just some inside, basic information about the track, how long it is, how long the front stretch is, the back stretch, the banking and the turns, the sister tracks. Sister tracks are tracks that are similar to this track that you could always look at how drivers do at these sister tracks to really maybe fine-tune some thoughts that you have for your fantasy NASCAR team and drivers that you might want to run at a certain track. Obviously, the sister track to Daytona is Talladega because they're both restrictor plate tracks. The track page also shows you the recent winners, which in this case, what we list here are the last four winners at the track. So in this case, there's two races at Daytona twice, 2 races a year. I'm going to give you the last four winners, so that's the last 2 years there. Then the next part, which I think is really neat, is really looking at 2 drivers that are hot, 2 drivers that are cold, and 2 drivers that we consider a long shot bet. And this is based over the last 2 races, so this is like really recent history. This Daytona obviously is going to be based upon the spring and the fall race at Daytona last year, and looking at the NASCAR Loop Data driver ratings for drivers at Daytona. Tony Stewart and Denny Hamlin are both very hot drivers, and I'll go into some information here to show you what their driver rating is, some other information about them. The next section is who's cold. These are your classic. These are the guys to avoid. Now Ryan Newman, he was a 2008 Daytona 500 winner, but he ran very cold here the last 2 races. Shows you a 36th place finish in the Daytona 500 in 09 and 20th place in the summer Coke 0400 with a really low driver rating of 49.95. So my suggestion here is that you stay away from Ryan Newman at Daytona until things seem to turn around for him. Greg Biffle as well has been cold at Daytona. And these 2 drivers, just want to point out, these are top drivers, right? So we're not saying who's cold is, sorry to pick on you, Scott Speed, but let's say Scott Speed is cold. These are drivers that you want to that you really are going to be in your A or B list of drivers. So it's a good information of drivers not to run at the track. Now the long shot bets, now these are drivers who in the last 2 races at this track ran really well. And they're also drivers that either have never won a race, maybe won 1 race ever, but are just not the guy that you would expect to win the race. Now, long shot bet's not always saying this. AJ Allmendinger or David Reagan could win at Daytona. That's very possible. But essentially, what we're saying here is these are drivers that you might not look at on your fantasy NASCAR team and expect to win. There, further down the page, we have the cheat sheet driver rankings, and what this does is I've taken all of the active drivers, and this is based on the NASCAR Loop Data driver ratings over the last 3 years. For the first 15 drivers here, we give a lot of information about them You can see over the last 3 races at Daytona the number of wins, top fives, top tens, the NLDDR. Now that's the NASCAR Loop Data Driver Rating, okay, which again is the rating by NASCAR on how well a driver performed. Also lists their average start and their average finish and the total points that they've accumulated at this track over the last 3 years. And so that's for the top 15 drivers according to the Loop Data Driver Rating. And then carry it on out, because you know your fantasy team isn't just going to be those top 15 drivers. So carry it on out to all the active drivers that we currently know and believe would be running this race. Um, and we got their rank and then the driver name and then the Loop Data driver rating, just to show you again how they've been ranked. So that is a NASCAR track page. Again, we got this for every track on the schedule. And I think it provides a lot of insight. I mean, on race day, you're going to be able to go to this page and look at the who's hot, who's cold, and long shot bets. It's going to help you right there make some initial judgments on your team. But then you're going to go down here to the cheat sheet rankings, and you're going to see exactly how each driver ranks for this track. So I think that's a lot of great information, and hope you really like it. And that's it for this video. Thanks.